couple of months ago, I made this disintegration effect in Blender. So I thought about updating it. Actually, I don't like how I made it. So I just thought about a better method to make it, rather than using object proximity. Because object proximity has some little limitation. So today we're gonna be using the UV information to drive this disintegration effect. First of all, you need to go to object data properties, and then you're gonna add this plus button and add a new UV map. Call it however you like. I just already did and added a new UV map, and I named it, I call it effect. So I can use it inside of GeometryNode. And I added a name attribute node. I took the name of this attribute as an output. So I can write the name of the UV from here. So the next thing you will think about doing is just going to edit mode and start shaping the UV that you like. So here, make sure to select the one that you're gonna use it in the geometry node. I'll go enter edit mode, and I will go to UV and project from view, and I will select them. I'll make it fit inside this square. So what exactly I did here? Let me just delete this node and start from fresh, so you can understand what I did. Okay. After you add named attribute node and do what I did, you're gonna add a separate XYZ node and take this Y value. I'm gonna show you what's this Y value doing. This value gives you a gradient, start from 0 to 1. The same as your UV. It starts from 0 to 1 here. So when you add a math node and start to add to this value, you will control this gradient. And here we can determine where it start and end by shaping this UV. For example, maybe I want to start from the back like this and goes to down, or I just go to UV editing and just UV projected from view again and make it start from right to left like this. So I had a lot of freedom to do whatever I want, however I like, and it is much easier to control than using an object proximity. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to distort this gradient with a noise texture. I'm gonna add a noise texture. I'm gonna add mix RGB. I'll switch this to color. I'll switch it to linear light. Okay. And make sure to clamp the result, because we don't want to exceed 1 or decrease than 0. I will add the subdivision surface so I can see this effect better. I will decrease the scale of this noise to 2, and I don't want this roughness or the details. Then I will add a set position node, and I will add a normal node. I'm gonna offset the position with the normal, and I'm going to control this offset with the math node. I'll set it to scale. I will take this effect to control this offset. I will add the split edges. You will notice here that these faces are distorted because this effect is affecting everything, including the vertices of every face. So I will add the evaluate on the main node, and I'm gonna switch it from point to face. So now your faces are not distorted. After that, I will add scale node, scale element node. This effect is too big. I want to reduce it a little bit. So I will add a math node. I'll divide it by 2. Then I need to invert the selection because these offsetted faces, I want them to be smaller. I'll subtract this value from 1 because I want to invert the selection. And then I'm going to add the math node. I'll multiply it by 2. And I will connect it to the scale of this node. After that, I will add the delete geometry node. I will take this selection. I'm going to delete only faces. I'm going to add the math node, set it to less than 0.1. So we're just deleting the faces that are smaller than 0.1. After that, I will add store name attribute. I'm going to store this value so I can use it in shader editor. I'll call it DIS. The last thing I will do is adding a material, and I will select the materials that I want. We want to animate this noise, of course, so we'll add the scene time node. I'll connect it to add. I'm gonna add a map range value to control the time from 0 to 5 seconds. I want them to be to -2 and to max 4. You will notice that it's a little bit weird because we actually clamp the factor. We need to clamp the result, not the factor. So let me switch to viewport shading, and I'll connect it to our group output, and I'm going to go to shader editor. Here in shader editor, I just mixed the original material with the emission shader. So I took this named attribute to make it control the mix between the emission and the original material. So yeah, here we go. This is a disintegration effect. So the last thing I'm gonna do is add a scale value, so I can control the scale of this disintegration. So I'll add a vector math node. I'll switch to scale, and I'm gonna take this scale value, so I can control both the noise and the scale of this UV. And I'm gonna add a math node. I will multiply it by -1, so I can control the minimum at the same time. So yeah, that's the end of this tutorial. So from here we can control the scale, and you can select the name of the UV that you want to use to drive this effect. So here is another example of the benefit of using this method. So I have this base mesh here. I put this GeometryNode modifier on top of it. Yeah, for example, I wanted this disintegration to start from his chest until it goes to his limbs. So what I'm gonna do is enter edit mode and select everything. I will UV, I will project it from view. I'll click on this option, UV sync. I will select these vertices, and I'm gonna enable proportional editing. I'm gonna start to move it, shave it however I like. We're doing weird stuff here. So after we distorted this UV, we're gonna see what we did. So before I just do anything, I added a new UV here, and I changed its name to effect, and its name the same as of this name here. So you will notice it's weird stuff happening here. So I'm gonna reduce this subdivision surface to 0, and here I will increase the scale for example to 3. So yeah, as you notice, it starts from his chest and it goes to his limbs, and that's exactly what we wanted. So I hope you like this tutorial, and leave a link in the description where you can get this file, and see you in the next one. I forgot to mention something. Here when you add the split edges, it will split the edges of the whole mesh. So we don't want that. We're gonna just only split the edges that this will be affected with this effect. So I'll connect the output of this linear light into the selection here. So yeah, here we go. This squared edges has gone. So before, after,